different sometimes.
What happened to your toe and any concern?
I would say, taking a page out of my Hockey Friends playbook, I would say it's a lower extremity injury. That's about all I'll say about it.
Any concern?
No.
George, you seemed like you were trying to keep it light on the sideline with Brock, and you made me laugh, but he just wasn't going for it. Man, he was just so serious.
You're not wrong.
Is that just kind of his mode?
Yeah, I would say Brock's always dialed in, and I said to you guys multiple times, like, when he's on the football field, like, you guys don't get to see that part of him, like, because he's always very, he's lighthearted when he talks to you guys, very humble, takes everything, he answers every question honestly, and then when he's on the football field, there's like just a different switches flip. So I realized I had to change my tactic of talking to him, and it just had to be a little bit different to have that conversation with him.
Like they have a lot of attention on them, whether it's Travis and Taylor or Patrick Mahomes' commercials, Andy Reid's commercials, things like that. Do you guys enjoy sort of being more under the radar and going into this?
I would say Andy Reid's his bundle commercial with the chicken tendies is one of my favorite commercials in the NFL. Absolutely fantastic. He does a great job with those. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, the Chiefs are in their fourth Super Bowl in 5 years. I mean, they should have all that attention. I think it's something that they're very used to, though, and I don't think it's any type of distraction for them. And I don't think, while we might be under the radar, I guess, to, people on the outside, I think the Chiefs are very aware that we're not under the radar at all.
If you go back and you talk to some of the guys that went to junior college with Brandon Aiyuk, and you ask them about that catch the other night, and they're impressed, of course, and then they'll say, and we saw that all the time in practice. Mm-hmm. Curious, does that sound like an exaggeration to you, or do you see Brandon do those kind of things all the time?
I mean, you guys are always out there at OTAs and training camp. Like, you guys see it. He mosses people, runs great routes, cooks people. I mean, he's always, like, I think the last 2 years he's been like the MVP of training camp. So yeah, I mean, he does it on a consistent basis. You see him run routes in the offseason, he does it. Training camp, he does it. All throughout practice the entire season, he's always making plays, always routing people up. So it's just like what he does every single day. Then he goes out there and it's just second nature to him, and that's the best possible thing for football players. Just when you can do those plays all the time, and when you finally get the opportunity, it's not foreign to you and you're not making anything up. He's just ready to go, and it's exactly what he's ready for.
When you get to Vegas next week, what mindset do you have between balancing an appreciation of being on the Super Bowl stage and also just focusing on getting your job done?
You're talking about game day or throughout the whole week? I mean, pretty easy for me. Like, I'm gonna stick to my routine as best I can, and we're busing to UNLV or going to whatever media stuff we have, obligations, that stuff. But I mean, my message to everybody is just stick to your routine. What you've done as best you can. If you wake up at a certain time, continue to wake up at that certain time. Hey, on Wednesday, if after practice you do some body maintenance and you go home, you sit on your couch and watch TV. Hey, why change it up? Like, you don't need to go get dinner. You don't need to get dinner with your agent. You'll see him next week. Like, you don't need to do anything extra. Just do what you've been doing, what's been working for you, and celebrate when you're done. Just do what you've been doing the whole season. Don't make anything up. Like, that's my thing. Like, yeah, Vegas, the street, the strip, all the lights. It is what it is. But what's really cool would be winning the Super Bowl. Anything else before that is, who cares, really?
What do you think of this Chiefs defense? What makes it so tough?
Chris Jones is really good at football. Every time you give him a one-on-one, he seems to dominate it. They put him out on the edge versus the tackles. He does a really good job over there. They usually go out the right tackle. So he does a really good job just doing that by himself. And then because of all the double teams, it frees up all their other guys on the D-line. 32, Bolton, I think is his last name. I think he's one of the most underrated linebackers in the NFL. I think he's really good in coverage. He flies around. I think he doesn't get the recognition for it, I don't think, because of there's a lot of other linebackers that play at a high level too. And then when you think of the Chiefs, you usually just think about Mahomes and Kelsey and Chris Jones. So I think he's playing at under level, and I think their whole secondary is playing really, really well together. If you watch the tape and you see all the movements, all the motions that teams do against them, they communicate better than anyone else I've seen on tape. Like, they don't get confused by when they do the double motions, all that stuff. Like, they communicate at a very, very high level because they've been playing in the same system. A lot of those guys have been there for a while. So it's like you have a vet team who's played a lot of games together. They've, and also one of the cool things is they didn't have a ton of success throughout the entire season, right? They weren't, what are they, a 3 seed? And so that's not what the Chiefs are usually used to. And so for them to kind of battle back and finish it really strong, and then also in the playoffs go on the road 2 times and, do exactly what they needed to do. Like, they're just playing hot right now, and they're playing very confident. I think that's a really good job. And also their 2 corners are 2 of the best corners we're going to face all year. And just watching their tape they're phenomenal. They jam, they stay on your hip. Their whole defense is playing at a really high level right now.
If we could ask you about Trent Williams' locker situation.
I'm very jealous. I know. I had 3 lockers during COVID, and they took those away from me. Darn it.
Does it say something about like just his standing? I mean, it doesn't seem that could be viewed as like this guy's kind of a prick, but you know.
You say that to Trent.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but it
Hey, Trent. Eric says you're. Oh, that's crazy, man.
seems
Yeah.
like no one begrudges him that, and it speaks to maybe his standing on this team and what he's accomplished. I don't know. Is there some symbolism to it?
He's larger than life. He has a silverback gorilla tatted on his back, and it's on his private jet. You know, it's Trent Williams. He can do whatever he wants, and I don't think anyone really cares. You know, he's got so much stuff that if you were to give someone else that locker, his stuff's going to be in their locker regardless. So just give the man 2 lockers. If you want to give him 3, don't care. He has it fenced off like it's a club. It's perfect. It's everything that is Trent Williams, and he deserves it as well. I would like a second one, though. I'll talk to him about it.
They kind of indicated yesterday they maybe were a little naive because they got to the Super Bowl their first couple of years, and then took it for granted, thinking they could get back so easily. What's been the hardest part of this climb to just get back to this point for you?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of guys that you lose, like, you know, after a Super Bowl year, a lot of coaches that get, you know, picked off and taken to other teams. And so you have to find out ways to win. It's like, yeah, we're very confident going into the 2020 season. Like, we're confident going into every season, but you're replacing a lot of guys. You're teaching new guys that come in, the culture of the team, the style of that we play. Coaches are kind of learning it. So there's just like a lot of moving pieces 24/7. And, you know, it's kind of on the guys that we have here and Coach Shanahan, and John Lynch to like figure out how to, you know, keep that the way that we want it to be, but also evolve and adapt. And, you know, winning in the NFL is really hard. It just is. You know, ball has to bounce your way, injuries, all that stuff. It's difficult sometimes. And, you know, football is a very difficult sport. And so it's hard to get back to the top. You know, we've gotten close a couple times, but, you know, hey, the ball bounces other people's ways and some plays weren't made, and that's just football. And it's very nice to be able to say that we got over that NFC Championship hump and have another opportunity finally.
What about your last matchups with Chris Jones?
Like as the Niners, I don't block him very often, maybe once in a while. I would just say he is a very dominant player. He's incredibly physical. He's huge. He's very hard to block one-on-one. And like I said, when you have a guy like on the interior that's as dominant as that guy is, you have to account for him with like 3 hands or 2 sets of hands. And when you're doing that, it just allows all the other guys to get all these one-on-one opportunities. And then you throw in, they'll put 5 guys on the line, or they might blitz somebody else. And then, hey, it's leaving somebody one-on-one with Chris Jones. And it's like, hey, good luck. Like, he's amazing. He's one of the best players in the NFL. He's been like a top 10 on the NFL 100 multiple years in a row. There's a reason he is, because you have to account for him on every play. And I think that he's, like, you have to treat him kind of Aaron Donald-ish, which is where, like, he could wreck any drive. You just say, hey, we're going to leave him one-on-one, and then all of a sudden he swims through, tackles the running back in the backfield for -5, and you're looking at 2nd and 15, and it ruins the drive. So he's just very, very good at wrecking plays, and when you have to account for someone like that, it just kind of leaves other people open.
Thanks, George.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.